there ever been a time where in the eyes of the media or like what standards they've given us do you feel unattractive and why?
Yes, there have been times where I do feel unattractive, and it is due to the fact that there are so many advertisements and different commercials where like these men who you guys see on TV have these bodies with like six-pack and chiseled abs, and I'm kind of a bigger person, so there are moments where I do feel unattractive.
When we're young, we're raised to have these like certain ways that like a person should look. For instance, Barbie dolls, they're like super skinny, and have these nice boobs and everything. So every girl is like, oh, I need to look like her.
Are generally, just as much as women told to be, be as attractive as possible, and you have to meet certain standards.
Yeah, like with how models are portrayed, them being so skinny and having like the perfect bodies that is not realistic for people who like food, aka myself, and like the whole thigh gap thing, that just like is really.
Do you feel that double standards have heavily affected your life personally, and if so, how?
I do, because as a girl who likes sports, I feel like I go up to my guy friends and I want to talk to them about sports, and they're just like, oh, you're a girl, you don't know anything about sports, and they don't even really care about my opinion.
Back in high school, before everyone got politically correct, I would talk to my friends on the football team, and they would about my girlfriend and my relationship issues, and they pretty much tell me to stop being a pussy and get over it.
Yeah, definitely. Like if a guy just like rolls out of bed to go to class or whatever, like it's normal to just rolled out of bed, whatever. But if a girl does it, people are like, oh, are you sick? Like, are you okay? Because like they don't have their makeup done or their hair done, So like that kind of double standard.
I'm searching for a job now because I'm graduating, and in the job world, like there's some people who think a guy can be better at this job than a girl just because they're a guy. Like there's no actual reason.
Yeah, definitely like in relationships. You see double standards a lot. The girl want to go out with her friends, and the guy want to go out with his. And there's always double standards with that, and the guy doesn't like girls being with guys.
So I guess when I used to play softball in high school, softball and baseball fields were right next to each other. So I did have really good friends on the baseball team, but a lot of them never believed that we could run as fast, hit as hard, throw as hard, like anything like that.
Do you feel that guys can get away with or have less of a negative reaction with more like numerous sexual partners than girls, and why?
Yeah, because if a guy has a high body count, then like their friends think they're cool, or it's like not a big deal, it's like whatever. But if a girl has a higher body count, then they're portrayed as a slut, and they get around and all that.
We're all young, and in modern society it's perfectly acceptable to have multiple sexual partners, and I do believe that there is this double standard there, but I don't necessarily agree with it, because it's okay for me to enjoy sex, so I feel like it's okay for women to enjoy sex too.
I definitely think there's probably a double standard for guys when they have more sexual partners than others. It's like everybody loosely uses the term slut, but guys get pat on the back. So I mean, I could go around sleeping with 10 different guys, and it would be a whole hell of a lot worse than my best guy friend going over there and sleeping with a brothel. I don't know,
If you're a female and you have conversations or relations with guys, you're going to be viewed as a person with a tarnished reputation, versus if you're a male and you have many female relations, you will be seen as high and mighty, or you'll be praised to a sense.
I feel like girls, definitely, if they have more sexual partners, they're quickly called like a slut. If a guy has a lot of sexual partners, he'll just get high fives from all of his friends.
Yeah, it's definitely more strict on females in my eyes, just because people are quick to call a girl horrible things. With guys, it's thought of as being cool.
Do you feel that in our society it's more acceptable for a guy to dress more provocatively than it is for a girl, and do you agree with it, and why?
So pretty much how women have been brought up for a long time is to be more conservative, and whenever they step out of that idea that society is putting them in, they're not considered exactly normal. I'm not asking for whatever happens to them, but personally I don't agree with it. It's just something that society has labeled a double standard.
I say yes, they can, because if a man is dressed more provocative, he will receive more attention, but there will be no consequence. If a woman dresses more provocatively, on the other hand, she may be suited out by you know, some perverted people, or, you know, she might try to be assaulted.
If you were to see a guy crying in public versus a girl doing the same, how would you react to each different situation and why?
I would react the same to each person crying, because if I saw someone crying, I'd be concerned as to what they were crying over and what was wrong. And I don't think that any gender should not be allowed to cry in public if they're upset.
I know in the media and stuff like that, girls who have been raped, people have said, oh, it's the way they're dressing, they're asking for it. But like, if guys can like walk around with their shirts off or wear like whatever they want to, girls should be able to do the same thing without people thinking that they're like throwing themselves out there or expecting something or like setting themselves up for something bad for them to happen.
Just goes back to the whole like cultural stigma thing of guys being able to do what they want just because like they're the man and like they're in charge and they can just make those kind of decisions, but girls like have to maintain like purity in order to like be able to like be a good wife and mother. It like goes back to those values way back when that really shouldn't matter now.
People are much quicker to judge girls, especially with dressing like that.
If you were to see a guy crying in public versus a girl doing the same, how would you react to each different situation and why?
I would react the same to each person crying, because if I saw someone crying, I'd be concerned as to what they were crying over and what was wrong. And I don't think that any gender should not be allowed to cry in public if they're upset.
With a guy, I don't know, it seems not as masculine when you see a guy doing it. But with a girl, it's kind of depressing almost. That's the way I see it at least.
Girls cry a little bit easier than guys do. It's chemically how it is. But if a guy's crying, yeah, I'd probably think that a death in the family or something like that. I wouldn't jump to the conclusion that somebody hurt his feelings.
I feel like if guys are just out crying, like a lot of guys that would walk by would just be like, hey man, like man up, like why are you crying? Or not even say anything at all, just like give them a weird look or something. But if girls are crying, there's a lot bigger chance that people will come up and be like, hey, do you need someone to talk to? I'm here, like do you...
If it was like a girl, I'd probably like ask her like if she's alright or she needs like maybe for me to get somebody. And I don't know, I'd probably do the same thing for a guy, but it'd be like maybe more like reluctant. Maybe he's like mad or something. He's like, get in my face, man, I'm not crying. Or something like that. It'd be all like pretend like he's not crying.